Hello, English learners, and welcome back to your daily English dose. We're so glad you're here to dive deep with us today. Have you ever thought that learning English could do more than just, help you chat or understand grammar? What if it could actually unlock a more productive, maybe more focused, even creative you in your everyday life? Because let's be honest, so many of us get stuck in that translation mode, right? Thinking everything in our first language, then mentally translating it all into English. It's like this extra step for every single thought. And honestly, it's kind of a huge drag on efficiency, on our mental energy too.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a common hurdle. And that challenge, that mental bottleneck, well, that's exactly what we want to tackle in this deep dive. We're going to unpack some really fascinating science about how shifting to actually thinking in English isn't just about language skills. It's a pretty profound way to boost your core cognitive functions. We've looked at the research and distilled it into three, let's say, scientific thinking methods. They're designed specifically to help you break free from that translation mode. And these methods can really dramatically improve productivity, sharpen your decision making, maybe even spark some new creativity. So yeah, it's not just about studying English grammar. It's more like a self-transformation based on brain science, kind of like upgrading your daily English dose into a full cognitive boost.
Okay, I am genuinely fascinated by this. Upgrading our brains for productivity just by thinking in English? That sounds like it goes way beyond just, learning more words.
Oh, it really does. It's quite remarkable, actually. Learning a foreign language acts almost like a comprehensive upgrade for your brain. Research consistently shows it improves memory, overall brain function, creativity.
Creativity, too. Yeah.
Creativity, perception, and even concentration.
But
Significantly. It's like giving your brain a full system refresh, not just adding a new app.
yeah. So it's not just what we learn, but the actual process of learning and using another language that changes our brain structure. That's a powerful thought.
Precisely. And a key element here is something called executive control.
Executive control.
Think of it as your brain's maybe air traffic controller. It's a set of really crucial cognitive skills. Skills like managing your attention, switching between tasks smoothly, filtering out irrelevant stuff so you can focus.
Packing distractions.
Exactly. And managing your working memory effectively. And studies show pretty consistently that bilingual people often show, superior abilities in these areas compared to monolinguals.
That's incredible. So just by juggling two languages, our brains literally get better at juggling. Well, everything else. That seems like a huge advantage.
It is, and it's a fantastic example of neuroplasticity in action. Managing two languages, especially over a lifetime, it physically changes and reorganizes specific networks in the brain. It's like you're building more robust, more efficient neural pathways. This creates a stronger foundation for that executive control and really boosts your ability to resist interference from distractions. Your brain literally rewires itself for better performance.
Okay, I think I heard somewhere that bilinguals might sometimes be a tiny bit slower processing words in their native language. That sounds counterintuitive, maybe, like a drawback.
Yeah, that's a great point, and it's actually super interesting. It seems like a drawback, but it's not a deficiency at all. It's actually really strong evidence that their brain is constantly active, managing and selecting between two languages that are both on.
So it's always juggling.
Exactly. This continuous internal sort of competition sharpens those critical executive functions like task switching and focus, makes them more efficient across the board. So it's not a bug, it's really a feature, like upgrading your brain's operating system, making it more robust. And what's really fascinating, too, is the link to cognitive reserve.
Cognitive reserve.
Yeah, the idea that multilingualism might help delay the onset of things like dementia by giving the brain more flexibility, more ways to compensate for age-related decline.
Well, so it's like a long-term investment in your brain health.
Yeah.
Okay, but how does all this cool brain science stuff, directly make us more productive? Better decisions day to day?
Right, that's the key question. How do we translate these brain benefits into actual tangible productivity gains?
Well, a core piece is working memory.
Okay, working memory, like short-form memory. Sort of. It's your brain's active workspace, your ability to hold and manipulate information temporarily, like remembering a phone number while you're dialing it, or doing math in your head, following complex steps. It's absolutely critical for planning, understanding complex ideas, generating thoughts, and even language learning itself. In fact, language strengthens working memory. It gives information these discrete categorical labels, helps your brain organize and hold on to information more efficiently, almost like mental hooks.
Huh. So language isn't just something your working memory uses, it actually helps build it. That really changes how I think about it. Makes sense why learning English would be so key for mental agility then.
It really is foundational, and this better working memory combined with that stronger executive control leads straight to enhanced decision-making. Research shows that when you make decisions in a foreign language,
In English, for example.
exactly in English, it can actually reduce common cognitive biases, things like overconfidence or being swayed too much by emotions in the moment. See, processing information in a non-native language tends to engage a more analytical, logical part of your thinking, creates a bit of emotional distance. And that helps you avoid impulsive choices, especially when the pressure's on.
That's huge. Making clearer, more logical decisions just by shifting the language you're thinking in, like a built-in bias filter. That's a game changer.
Totally. And think about highly productive people, like top CEOs. What do? They're not just busy, they practice decision-making discipline. They optimize, focus on what's important, not just what's urgent. Thinking in English helps cultivate these exact skills. Better working memory, analytical thought, fewer biases. It essentially becomes a kind of decision-making framework for tackling complex problems.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So just to quickly sum up the big wins from these cognitive upgrades. Better executive function means better multitasking and focus. Stronger working memory means better planning for complex stuff. And reduced cognitive biases mean more rational decisions. That's a pretty powerful science-backed productivity boost right there.
That recap nails it. Okay, but now, the practical side. That constant mental translation thing is probably the biggest hurdle for many learners, myself included sometimes. It's a habit that really slows us down. So the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
How do we actually stop doing that? How do we break free from translation mode?
Right. And that brings us perfectly to our first core method. It's all about building direct connections in your brain, English to concept, bypassing your native language.
Yeah.
And we start really, really simple.
Simple sounds good. What's the very first thing listeners can do, like right now?
The easiest but super effective practice is just naming your surroundings silently. Just look around, identify objects, and name them in English in your head. Desk, chair, window, keyboard. You can do this anywhere, anytime. Even just for 15 seconds, it's an incredibly low barrier way to start.
So just identifying things silently, like a mini vocab builder,
Yeah.
but it trains your brain to think visually in English.
Exactly right. And there's science behind this too. It's related to dual coding theory. Basically, your brain has parallel processors, one for images, one for language. When you see the actual chair and mentally say chair in English, you're using both systems at once.
Yeah, okay.
This dual encoding creates a much stronger, more direct memory pathway for the English word, makes it harder for the native language word to jump in. It's like creating a mental shortcut. You could even put sticky notes with English words on things to really reinforce it visually.
Yeah, that makes total sense,
Yeah.
forging that direct link. Okay, so once we're doing that with single words, what's next?
The natural next step is to think in simple sentences. Once naming objects feels comfortable, start forming basic sentences about what you're doing or seeing. Really simple stuff like, I'm hungry, or the drawer is open, maybe it's raining outside. Keep it straightforward. And this ties into the output hypothesis.
Output hypothesis.
Yeah, the idea that the act of generating language, even just in your head, is crucial for learning. It's not passive. When you mentally build a sentence, your brain is actively searching for words, arranging grammar, structuring the thought. It's like doing mental push-ups for your language skills. Makes those neural connections stronger, more automatic.
Mental push-ups, I like that. Practicing without the pressure of actually speaking. Okay, so what are some daily techniques to really make this stick?
We've got 3 really practical ones. First, daily narration or self-talk. Basically, describe what you're doing or what's around you in English like you're a commentator. Narrate your morning routine. I'm making breakfast. Okay, now I'm pouring milk into the bowl. This is great because it really lowers the psychological barrier. No pressure from anyone listening. Studies show it boosts fluency and helps create a more positive learning attitude. And it gets you into a more conversational thinking pattern, like asking yourself, what am I doing now? And answering, right, I'm writing this report.
Oh, I love that. It sounds kind of fun, actually. Takes the fear out of mistakes and makes it feel less like studying. What's number 2?
Second technique is English journaling. Make it a habit. Write daily logs, to-do lists, shopping lists, maybe your goals, or just thoughts about your hobbies, but do it all in English.
Journaling.
Yeah, because this engages cognitive processing more deeply. It helps internalize grammar and vocabulary in a meaningful context. You build practical vocabulary that's actually relevant to your life. Plus, it works like a fantastic self-diagnosis tool. When you write, you clearly see where your gaps are. Vocabulary, grammar mistakes makes your future learning way more efficient. And importantly, don't stress about making mistakes. The goal is just thinking and expressing in English.
Got it. So it's practice, but also a way to figure out exactly what you need to work on. Smart. And the third technique.
The third one is really fundamental for embedding English as your thinking language. Use English-only dictionaries.
Ah, ditch the translation dictionary.
Exactly.
Yep.
When you look up a word, use an English-to-English one, like a learner's dictionary from Merriam-Webster, Oxford, Cambridge. This forces your brain to connect English words directly to concepts or to other English words. It bypasses that native language filter completely. It cuts down hesitation, really speeds up fluency. It's a core strategy for thinking entirely within the English system.
Those are super practical, actionable steps. Okay, so we're working on breaking the translation habit, but how do we make this English brain stick? Make it permanent? It sounds like creating the right environment is key, right? Like building a new mental home?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the bridge from conscious effort to unconscious habit. It's about weaving English into your daily environment seamlessly. And one incredibly simple but effective way is digital immersion.
Digital immersion.
Yeah, change the language settings on your phone, your computer, your social media, search engines, switch them all to English. This passively, almost without effort, boosts your exposure to English words and phrases all day long. You're absorbing it without even trying.
That's brilliant. Just using my phone becomes a mini lesson, like
Yeah.
a constant, gentle nudge.
Precisely. And then beyond that, actively consume English content, but make it stuff you actually enjoy. Choose podcasts, YouTube videos, news sites, blogs, whatever in English on topics you're genuinely interested in.
So things I'd be looking at anyway, just
Yeah.
in English.
Exactly. It makes exposure a pleasure, not a chore. And this kind of deliberate environment building leads to what we call passive immersion. Your brain just starts soaking up the language patterns, the rhythms, the common phrases, sort of unconsciously. Grammar and vocab start to integrate more naturally, reduces the burden of active studying, makes the habit easier to keep long term.
That definitely sounds more appealing and sustainable than just drilling flashcards.
Yeah.
But what about when it gets frustrating? You hit a wall. How do we avoid just giving up?
Ah, yes. Managing frustration is critical for long-term success. The key is cultivating small successes to build momentum. A great way is the 30-day challenge idea. Commit to practicing thinking in English every day, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. Starting small builds motivation through those consistent, tiny wins. That's how habits stick. You could even try the 2-minute habit.
2 minutes.
Yeah, just dedicate 2 minutes, maybe beginning or end of the day, to think about your schedule or what happened purely in English. It lowers the entry barrier for habit formation almost to zero.
Wow. 2 minutes a day. Seriously, anyone can find 2 minutes. That feels incredibly doable.
And what's really crucial here for that long-term brain change, that neuroplasticity, is that consistency is way more important than intensity.
Right. Little and often.
Exactly. Short, regular bursts of English thinking are much more effective for building and maintaining those neural pathways than, say, one huge, exhausting study session once a week. It's about showing up daily, even briefly, to keep those English thinking circuits firing.
Okay, so we've got methods to break translation mode,
Yeah.
ways to build an English environment, the importance of consistency.
Mm-hmm.
What does this all mean for, you listening, for your long-term growth? How do we keep the motivation up?
Yeah, that brings us to the mindset piece, the long view. And for inspiration, we can learn a lot from polyglots. People who speak many languages often say something like, you don't know a language, you live it.
Live it.
Yeah. They don't just study it academically, they weave it into their life, their identity. It becomes natural.
That's a much deeper way to think about it. Not just a skill, but part of your life.
Absolutely. And look at success stories, too. So many people achieve fluency later in life. It proves patience and consistent effort are what really count. Age really isn't the barrier people sometimes think it is. And maybe the most important thing for staying motivated is shifting your motivation.
Shifting it how?
Moving away from purely external goals, like getting a perfect test score or flawless pronunciation, which can be sources of pressure towards internal goals. Goals like boosting your own productivity, making better decisions, that feeling of personal cognitive growth. That kind of internal drive is way more sustainable. It fuels long-term success.
What an incredible journey we've covered today. We looked at the science why thinking in English is a cognitive upgrade, then practical methods to ditch the translation habit, creating that immersive environment, and now the mindset for the long haul.
Definitely. And we really want to leave you with something concrete to start with, like right after this. So we've put together a simple 30-day action plan, a clear roadmap you can use immediately to kickstart your English thinking transformation.
Oh, that sounds perfect, especially for our listeners maybe just starting out or feeling a bit stuck. A clear starting point. What does the plan look like?
Okay, so for week 1, the focus is just on words. If you're a beginner, just aim to name maybe 5 objects around you in English each day. Simple. If you're more intermediate, maybe challenge yourself. Name as many objects as you can in 30 seconds. Build those direct mental links.
Okay, super easy start. Week 1, words. Got it.
Then week 2, we level up slightly to simple sentences. Beginners, try mentally forming just 2 I'm sentences about your day. I'm reading, I'm cooking. Intermediate folks, maybe try 5 minutes of that self-talk we discussed, narrating your day in simple English.
Right. Building on week 1 makes sense. And for the environment.
Week 3 is about creating that English environment. Beginners, take that small but powerful step. Change your phone language to English. Passive, constant exposure. Intermediate learners, find one English YouTube video on something you like and just watch it. Make it fun.
Love how practical and progressive these are.
Yeah.
Okay, and week 4, to deepen the thinking.
Yep, week 4 is about journaling to internalize and also self-diagnose. Beginners, just try writing your daily to-do list in English. Intermediate learners, aim for maybe 5 or more lines in an English diary. Reflect on your day, your thoughts in English. Remember, it's these small, consistent steps that build real momentum and genuinely rewire your brain over time.
This really pulls it all together beautifully. And what a powerful final thought. Thinking in English isn't just about language skills. It's about fundamentally upgrading your brain's operating system for a more productive, maybe more insightful, more creative life. So my final provocative thought for you listening is, what other parts of your life could benefit from this amazing cognitive shift?
And if you found this deep dive helpful, please do give this video a like and definitely subscribe to your daily English dose. We've got lots more great content coming. Also, share your own tips or your experiences with thinking in English. Share them in the comments below. We genuinely love hearing from you and seeing how you're doing.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into boosting productivity by thinking in English. Keep practicing, keep growing your English brain, and we'll see you next time for another exciting deep dive.